Get no better at all because you're lying. Suck-who.
Weekdays from noon till Paul on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Paul Feinbaum. That'll do it for me today. Coming up next, The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This hour is brought to you by Woody Anderson Ford, Alabama's F-150 Superstore. Welcome to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline, 256-576-4977.
That's how I roll. And I'm not going to drink and drive anymore.
That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Wes and Steve.
And away we go here on a Tuesday live from the Furniture Factory at Mark Camara's Furniture Factory Bar and Grill. How are you, Wes?
Doing good.
Oh, wait a second. This is demerit on me. I got to set this part of the board, too. How are you, Wes?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Doing real well. Doing better than the folks up in Ann Arbor. As the story, if this is the Titanic, this thing is starting to go down bit by bit. As there was a story last night from Sports Illustrated in reference to a former football staffer at an unknown Big Ten school revealed late yesterday that he was employed to steal signs and put together a spreadsheet of Michigan's calling signals used in 2022. This was a story from the Associated Press as well. Well, this has expanded now to today. Who wrote this story? Adam Rittenberg from ESPN.com. Michigan has sent documents to the Big Ten that the school believes that show 3 conference teams engaged in communication about the Wolverines' signals in 2022. Those 3 teams involved are Rutgers, Ohio State, and Purdue.
That Michigan were doing their signs?
So this is how it reads. Michigan has sent documents to the Big Ten that the school believes show 3 conference teams engaged in communication about the Wolverine signals in 2022. That'd be Rutgers, Ohio State, and Purdue.
So they're saying other schools did this to them.
Purdue.
How would they have the records, though? That doesn't make sense.
Purdue, which faced Michigan in 2020 in the 2022 Big Ten championship game, received offensive signals from Ohio State and defensive signals from Rutgers. According to sources, Michigan beat Rutgers 52-17. I don't know why that matters. And also beat Ohio State 45-23, a game that clinched the East Division for the Wolverines. A Big Ten source said the league has forwarded the information on to the NCAA for possible follow-up. It is unknown whether the signal sharing between the league teams violates Big Ten sportsmanship policy or any NCAA rules. The information passed along is not expected to impact the Big Ten's potential discipline for Michigan under the sportsmanship policy. So that came out today. Put a pin in that. The story last night from the Associated Press, I think, is more damning to Michigan. The employee who has chosen to remain anonymous in fear of jeopardizing his coaching career shared documents with the Wolverines program last week that includes pictures of Michigan's signs and plays, as well as screenshots, messages between employees at other Big Ten programs. the staffers shared the information with Michigan in hopes of helping the program amid the sign-stealing investigation being conducted by the NCAA and the Big Ten.
What does that have to do with anything of what Michigan's charged with?
It feels like they are putting up a whole lot of
nothing. That's nothing. They're saying that these other guys shared signs. They didn't hire somebody to go record the signs, make videos of them, put them to the game film, and then have charts on the sideline
and stand next to a coordinator.
Yeah, that's what are they saying? I mean, to me, they're shouting, "We're really, really guilty," but other people.
Yeah, we're not the only ones that have committed murder. We're not the only ones.
What these other ones, to me, is you're talking about emails, talking about signs. Really, how much can be in that one email? I don't know. I think Michigan's in big trouble. I've said it. I'll continue to say it.
But I think this is the reason I wanted to bring it up right out of the gate is the fact that this is starting to get stirred up from Michigan's side, that this is a big deal. That the fact of the extent that they went to try to steal these signs. And
well, really, the article you read had nothing to do with that, other than the fact they're claiming other people were doing it too.
Rutgers, Ohio State, and Purdue.
They got an anonymous source.
Yes.
Let's say this.
Always anonymous.
Yes. Well, we have the guy on videotape doing it, and he's guilty as hell. And I don't think that anything Michigan puts out like this is going to affect that.
Coming up on
I think the head coach for Michigan is in big trouble.
I think so, too. Coming up on the program today, we're going to hear from head coach Jerry Glanville coming up here after our first time out. Let's squeeze in a Ray Dog before our first break. Ray Dog, appreciate you calling in. How you doing, brother?
I'm well. Yourselves?
Doing well.
I'm going to get a couple of three things in. I know you got a break to take and bills to pay and all of that. The Michigan story, there's only two possibilities here, and you've touched on them both. A, it's a much bigger problem across the board than anyone realizes. Or B, Michigan is throwing smoke, hoping to delay the inevitable. And if the second thing is true, write it down today. New head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders, Jim Harbaugh.
Yeah. That's a good walk-off right there by Ray Dog. There's a lot of people that have gone there because...
I thought he was going to Chicago.
Well, he might get that opportunity again as Chicago. This just in, not that good.
Yeah, I don't think the Raiders are either.
No. Well, Mr. Davis is, the last report I read is he's paying over $80 million in coaches that don't coach the Las Vegas Raiders.
That tells you how much they make.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and take our first time out. Coach Jerry Glanville set to join us. We're also going to give you the reveal of the college football playoff poll, which comes out at the top of the next hour. Just getting things started.
You're listening to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Here's Bobby White from Woody Anderson Ford on their service department.
President's Award winner 2 years in a row. That's only given to the top 10% of Ford dealers in customer satisfaction. So we're very proud of the service department. And our body shop. If you happen to get into an accident, which not a lot of people just want to go down and see a body shop, but if you get into an accident, award-winning body shop. We have state-of-the-art paint booths back there. They're waterborne paints that we use, friendly for the environment. We've got our production system, the way things are in and out. We have the fastest cycle rate in town of getting your vehicle in, getting your vehicle out, and assured that it's fixed right. We take pictures before it's wrecked, and not only after, but we take it as we're putting the parts on. All done to above industry standards. So I'm proud of our body shop too. Don't forget our parts department. So if you don't happen to need parts, performance parts, or just parts if you're a weekend mechanic.
Woody Anderson Ford, located at the corner of Jordan and Sparkman, as well as Hughes Road and Madison. You can also check out the great deals at WoodyAndersonFord.com.
With us today, Dr. Tracy Lowry of Best Vein Care of Huntsville.
When we evaluate a patient and they indeed have significant venous disease, most third-party payers, private insurance, Medicare, require us to treat every patient conservatively at least 90 days. Conservative treatment includes increasing ambulation, elevation of the legs, and the wearing of compression stockings. It's very common for folks to come see us in March or April wanting to have their veins fixed before they go into swimsuits starting in June. When we see someone in March or April, they're going to require at least 90 days of conservative treatment before we can even go to the insurance carrier to get permission to treat their veins. So if you think you have a venous problem, now is the time to come in and get a free screening so we can determine whether or not you need something evaluated. If you have a vein problem or you think you may have a vein problem, now's the time to contact us at bestveincarehuntsville.com.
The kitchen is the heart of any home. It's where the family gathers. It's where kids discover old recipes and make them their own. Just starting out or just now getting started on the dream kitchen you've always wanted?
I'm Chris Haygood, and from all of us here at Bob Wallace Appliance to the home builders and the homeowners of the Huntsville area, a heartfelt thank you for buying local. We're in Huntsville, Florence, and Coleman, and online at bobwallaceappliance.com.
Chapman Commercial Realty, your source for Alabama commercial real estate. Chapman Commercial Realty has the experience and expertise you're looking for when making commercial real estate decisions. If it's office space, retail space, investment property, or project development, Chapman Commercial Realty is your answer. Call Bill Chapman today at 256-656-8413. That's 256-656-8413. Or find them online at chapmancommercialrealty.com.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
This is Wes Neighbors sitting here with Stan McDonald. Stan, tell everybody why you're the best damn dirt lawyer in North Alabama.
Yes, Wes, at Jacob Title and the Stanton Law Firm. You know I'm a dirt lawyer, and a lot of our friends know that, which means we specialize in real estate. Now, if you own real estate or you're buying it or you're selling it, you need to do a closing, but a lot of times there's legal issues associated with that. We're a great group to talk to. My son, Lewis McDonald, heads our commercial closing division, and we approach your real estate needs very seriously. We seek to be the premier real estate closing company in North Alabama, and we do it in such a way it shows that we're experienced, we're for your success. We like to handle your real estate needs the same way Coach Dan Reeves used to say, never let them see you sweat. And that's going to be to your benefit, too, when you visit us at Jacob Title and the Stanton Law Firm. Our website online is jacobtitle.com.
This segment of The Drive is brought to you by Woody Anderson Ford, located online at woodyandersonford.com with 2 locations, Hughes Road in Madison and Jordan Lane in Huntsville.
Your winner of Pick 2 is Larry. Larry is your winner of Pick 2. Congratulations to you, Larry. Always fun to talk football with our next guest, and that is Coach Jerry Glanville, who's kind enough to join us here on a Tuesday. How are you, Coach?
If I was any better, I'd be something, I promise you. I got good news for you, too, and I got great news for you, too. What a show!
Uh-oh. So where do you want to start, Coach?
Well, I don't know if our listeners will know the Addams Family, not the TV show.
Yeah.
The Addams Family, as the three of us know, have served papers on the University of Houston, cease and desist wearing the Oilers uniforms.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And they didn't wear the oil, Derek, but they had everything else pretty much copied. And the Addams family, of course, owns the rights. The Addams family, by the way, will not allow the Houston Texans to wear the uniform, but they do let the Tennessee Titans wear the uniform for a throwback. And, of course, there's nobody in Tennessee that even knows who the Houston Oilers were. So everybody's up in arms as to who should really have the rights. The Addams family, and I love the coach from the University of Houston. Never met him. He goes, all we're trying to do is honor the memory of a great pro football team.
Nothing wrong with the
it's
Dana
ridiculous.
Holgerson, by the way, the coach there.
It's absolutely ridiculous. They ought to do everything they can to support him wearing it.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Well, you would, because I told you 2 kids got in a fight over your jersey number.
Of course they
and
did.
And the fight was neither one of them wanted to wear it, but they wanted to Oh, that's terrible. I shouldn't have said that. All right, let's go with Alabama. I got news for Alabama.
Yes, sir.
Well, I'm watching the quarterback become so physical. I never thought we would say this, but here we are. Alabama's offense is now more physical than Alabama's defense. And that's something. I don't think we've said that since Mr. Saban showed up. But this quarterback,
they've gotten the offensive line. Everybody's gotten more physical as the years gone on, as they seem to know what to do.
And I think the quarterback for Alabama took the eye of the tiger out of there. The DBs didn't want much to do with him. And the wide receivers, probably like me, went into shock. Number 2 for Alabama made a tackle. I flipped off my couch, did 22 push-ups, and ran around the block. So I think the wide receivers that says, well, if even number 2 is going to get involved, we're in for a butt kicking.
You know, one thing, Coach, I want you to go watch Kool-Aid McKinstry, who was the right corner in the game, and find a play that they completed a pass on him in that game.
Well, it's funny. Later in my show, you must have read my notes. I'm mad now at your producer. I have a whole thing on Kool-Aid. So you're ahead of the show. And I got to say this, Wes. That's the first time you've ever been ahead of the show.
You know, he played unbelievable in that game.
Yes, he did. And I'm going to brag on him a little while back. All right, here's the deal. LSU, I think they're getting a little soft in a couple of positions. Here's what I alert everybody in college football. The portal, the great athlete, all the time, what you would call, timing measurements, jumping, all that. Don't forget you still got to play football. And I'm seeing great athletes that really don't want to play football. They want to play flag football. and I think that's happened at LSU at a couple of positions. I think number 2 for Alabama. I don't know where you all got him from. Probably California.
Georgia.
Georgia?
Yes, sir.
Well, tell him I'm going to spank him when I see him because Georgia kids hit.
You know, he's 18 years old.
Well, he's the same age as me. You just got to suck it up and go. Okay, now, Colorado demoted their offensive coordinator. Southern Cal fired the defensive coordinator after the last game. And I'm looking around laughing. And the head coach is protecting himself when he makes moves against coordinators. It's a deal. Get off my butt. I got rid of the problem. But I looked at the Colorado offense. If your quarterback's getting sacked that many times, you have to change the offense. You have to have enough pride to say, I don't need 5 people out. I only need 3, and I'll keep 2 more to block. Well, nobody's done that. So the head coach's son is getting beat to death because everybody's out on every pattern, and they should take a chapter out. Remember Joe Gibbs. Joe Gibbs didn't care if he ended up with 1 guy out. He wanted his quarterback to finish standing on his feet. Whatever happened to that concept? And I'm not a Joe Gibbs fan, but he protected the quarterback better than anybody. Okay, now staying in the SEC. Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Tennessee quarterback Dobbs. Did you watch him?
Yes. That was something, wasn't it?
Here's a guy, didn't know anybody's name, did not know the plays, and I loved him when he was at Tennessee. I happened to be living in Knoxville at that time, and I liked him better than the rest of the city. He was under Butch Jones.
That's right.
Butch Jones, they were going to run RPO, even if it wasn't any good. I would go to those games, and I'd say, if I see one more RPO, I'm going to shoot myself, because it was pretty ugly. But what a great job he did. He won the game for the Vikings, saved the head coach, who was in trouble, by the way. But here's the saddest story. Baker Mayfield for Tampa makes an unbelievable drive, comes down with less than a minute, and thinks he wins the game. And everybody in the league would be talking about Baker Mayfield. But unfortunately, the ex-Ohio State quarterback comes all the way back with 40 seconds and wins. And I can't find one note, hear one person, anybody say what a great job Baker Mayfield did bringing him in there to go ahead.
That's true, though.
Yeah.
They act like if the quarterback loses the game, that it was the quarterback's fault in every instance. I mean, even if they get beat 35-42, they'll look, he threw that one interception, right?
Yep.
That's just
that's why
anyway.
My press conferences were so much different. If we got beat, they'd say, what happened? I'd say, my center didn't block back when he was supposed to. He was blocking. And my center was killing it. Okay, now, I looked at the Heisman Trophy. I watched Michigan for the first time. Have either one of you watched Michigan?
A little bit here and there.
I'm not a Big Ten guy, so I don't jump up and down about any Big Ten school. But I think Michigan has a very, very good football team. The J.J. McCarthy kid, who I never liked early, is getting better and better, and he's trying to steal the Heisman Trophy away from Bo Nix, my Auburn star. I'd say Bo right now is he's probably like 3, and the two guys were dead set on going for the Heisman Trophy. Southern Cal quarterback, Notre Dame quarterback from Wake Forest, have fallen off the chart. I feel bad for the guy at Notre Dame. If he'd gone pro, he'd have been better off than sticking around with the and by the way, I called Clemson beating Notre Dame, and I want to tell everybody because it was the first time I was right.
Oh, come on now, Coach. Talking to Jerry Glanville right now on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline, and at least down here in Alabama, Coach, a lot has been made from the state of Louisiana about the hit from Dallas Turner onto the quarterback. Well, what did you see on that? There was a flag on the play, but evidently it wasn't harsh enough for some LSU fans.
I think they should have got 15 points on that penalty.
Well, I missed that play, so I'm totally I heard about it, but anything I say would be a regurgitation of a bobbing head on his TV show that I don't trust.
Well, Coach, let's just put it this way. If it was a hit 10 years ago, it would have been a clean hit.
Yeah,
he did land on the quarterback, so that's why the flag flew, and that's why the roughing the passer.
Without landing on him?
I know.
But the things that I thought he launched, but his feet never left the ground. His toes were on the ground. Wow. And he hit the guy originally in the chest, but as they fell, he wrapped him up like you're supposed to, and his head went high. And when he landed on the chin strap of the neck. What I was told today is the quarterback did not have his mouthpiece in. He only had half of it in. He had it on the side of his mouth. I haven't confirmed that.
I see that all the time.
And that will get you a concussion right there.
Yeah.
Well, you played for me. If you got knocked out for me at any time, you went what we used to call cardboard head. I did not allow you to play anymore without a mouthpiece. Now, if you've never been knocked out, I let you go out and find your first daylight zone. But my rule, once you've gone cardboard head, it's mandatory when I was coaching. All right, now I looked at the first round of the draft because Georgia and Alabama and Ohio State have dominated the first round. And you're going to flip out when I tell you this. In the first round, I got Georgia with 3, Alabama with 3, Ohio State with 3, and Penn State with 3. How about that for y'all?
Wow.
Huh.
That's the first round in the draft. And the only reason Alabama doesn't have more, they declared Wes ineligible for the draft.
So that Alabama has the youngest team in the conference, and that's not said a lot.
No. I think what I saw on TV with them, LSU, didn't want to join the fight, and you have to bring your athletes with you. But you better bring somebody that's wanting to join the fight. And I think Alabama has improved on offense in the physicality. And when your quarterback will run and go after people, you always got a shot. That kid has really improved. He's like the Georgia kid. Both kids were not thought much of, and their assignment was not to win the game. It was to deal the ball off. But now both kids play so well that they can go win the game. And the quarterback for LSU, everybody had him down for the Heisman Trophy. But after last week, I don't know that he'll still be in the running.
Yeah. Well, I know there's it really is amazing to see the improvement there for Jalen Milroe, and at least there is a prevailing thought of at least his camp wants him to be a pocket quarterback. But, Coach, with that elite ability with those legs, it's got to help down in the long run for his development just being overall at the quarterback position. Don't you think, Coach?
Plus, what I love, Steve, even if he's running or if he's passing, drop back, I believe he's going to get harder and harder to get on the ground. He is not going down very easily. And that changes that gives your whole team toughness. And pretty soon everybody's playing because he's playing that way. That's what I like.
Talking to Coach Jerry Glanville right now on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. And you mentioned Oregon early on, and that is a team that is just fun to watch. I mean, they're playing at a very high level, and I realize they do have that loss at Washington, but man, is that just it's just an enjoyable team to watch on television, Coach.
And I got hooked because Bo Nix went there for no other reason. I got hooked to watch him, right?
Yeah.
And then I got to watching everything, and I got to watching the game. And you're absolutely right. This is an enjoyable viewing, and they're playing football. Now, on the West Coast, the defenses play different than in the SEC. It's called disappearing. But, you get a Washington State, an Oregon. They have skill, speed, and they can run. And I'm so proud of Bo Nix. You know where he's from? Is he from Alabama originally in high school?
Yeah. In fact, went to Scottsboro High School for a couple of years, but ended up at Pinson Valley. So, yeah, he's all around the state. And, of course, his dad went to Auburn, too, Patrick Nix.
Well, how far away? But here's what we should do. I want us to do a live show one evening honoring Bo Nix in his hometown, and I'll buy the barbecue.
Well, that's big news right there.
Well,
so we're going to have to make that happen.
If you tell Wes you're buying a barbecue, it's going to happen now.
Yeah, be careful what you're signing up for.
Yes.
I know. He's a little different. I noticed, Wes, you go fishing a lot.
Yes.
When did you take that up? After you sold the police car?
Well, I sold the police car and bought a police boat.
Now, in the NFL, let's go to the NFL.
All right.
It was time to sign the players and trade players. And the 49ers have no limits. They went and got the best pass rush defensive end from Washington. Well, I kind of was hoping Detroit would go after him. And then Washington let the next best pass rusher go. So what does that tell Jerry Glanville? The two best pass rushers available were on the Washington team, and they let them both go. I'd say the head coach will be out of work in about 5 more weeks. They're planning for a rebuild. I can't believe they let those two guys go. And then Josh McDaniels. You guys didn't say anything about him getting fired for the Huntsville.
Oh, yeah.
And the poor guy's been fired, and they've shoved him out the door again with another $40 million.
Poor guy. Poor guy.
It's hard to feel sorry for him. He'll probably call up Nick and buy 2 or 3 Mercedes-Benz dealerships.
Poor guy.
So how much? So we talked about that before you came on, Coach, about Mr. Davis is paying $80 million to coaches that aren't coaching for him anymore.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm putting a call into him and say I'll actually show up and work for half that amount.
So how did Coach? What do you think? What does a NFL team bring in now? What is the profit they bring in?
Well, the owners. I always say there is no profit. It all goes off to expenses. But I notice their net worth goes up by billions of dollars. I can remember when how about Jerry Jones? He had to borrow money to buy the Cowboys, and everybody forgets he was all 100% financed. He didn't have the money. And then if I look up his net worth, he's worth about $5 billion. So I don't know how, because they claim they don't make money, but they all are doing well.
Yeah,
funny how that works.
I know that's not the truth.
Well, the whole deal for an owner is the private suites. When you sell a ticket in the NFL, so let's say we're going to a game and there's 50,000 people in the stands, the visiting team gets half the gate of the people sitting in the seats. The visiting team on the private suites gets nothing. All private suites money stays with the home team. So why did Bud Adams leave Houston? Couldn't get any private suites. Why did the Cleveland Browns leave? They couldn't get any private suites. And to make money, they had to build new stadiums in those two cities with private suites. So the ownership's profit comes from that guy that has that private suite, and he's paying $40,000 a game for that suite.
It's a lot of money. ESPN currently is reporting that the Big Ten has notified Michigan of possible discipline amid the sign-stealing probe, and there is a report believing that Coach Harbaugh will be suspended for 3 games. That's some breaking news that is on SportsCenter as we speak right now, Coach.
Wow. You are what I call very current. Me and Wes, we're old time. You are current, and we appreciate it.
So tell me a little bit about sign stealing back in the day for you, Coach. I mean,
Here's my total thing, and I think I told Wes this. what you do game day, what you steal as we're playing each other across the field is totally within the limits of the game. It's totally like baseball. If I know when that guy pats his helmet, it's this play, and I'm picking that up as I'm playing, that's part of the game. That's what you do. That's what Billy Joe Tolliver did every place he ever played. But to go to a guy's game and buy tickets on each side of the stadium and film things while you're there, I have no use for that. That's totally unethical. Anybody that does that, I'm not for. I'm not on his side. If you're doing that, you're not playing within the rules of the game. But what I steal from you and you steal from me, I can tell. As Wes knows, I'm calling the defenses, and I'll call something and I see it, and I'll turn around and I say, they got me. They got that call. Change your hand, because the second time I ran it, they were in the perfect deal. I said, they have us. Flip that call. That's what you do. That's football. But you can't say they filmed me for the last 3 weeks. I didn't even know they were in my stadium. That's unconscionable.
Was it a huge problem in the NFL when you were in the NFL, Coach?
Well, so many people even used to send the messenger guards. So you couldn't. A guard came in with the play. The Cleveland Browns, the great Paul Brown, didn't throw hands. So here comes the guy running with the play. Here comes the guy with the play. We didn't have many players in Atlanta, so you won't believe this. We ran our plays in with a tackle. Well, how can you take your tackle out of the game? Well, neither one could play, so it didn't matter.
Really?
Yeah. Now, defensively, I went into the CFL, so they went to the helmet. First time I was with the helmet was the CFL, and you could talk to the quarterback and at all hand signals. Defensively, we didn't have helmets, so we were still signaling by hand. I went in the XFL. Remember, I was down at Tampa Bay with the Vipers. We had, you're going to love this, Wes, I had 6 guys on defense listening to me through the whole play.
6.
I could say to Nikita Whitlock, my defensive tackle, this is a screen your side. The back's going to slide out. He'll step up. Take a man to the right flat. Bam. And he'd wave at me. He'd wave at me and go take it.
That is cool.
They never, in the XFL, they never shut off your communications, including, now June Jones, remember, went undefeated at Houston.
That's right.
He would say to the quarterback, look to the Z, come right back to the X, fire it. He was coaching them through the whole play.
And he'd say, fire it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is great.
I mean,
that's hard to see from the sideline, too.
Yeah.
Well,
was he in the box?
You know what's the joke? What's legal in high school is illegal in college. What they're doing in pro is illegal. High schools have TVs on the sideline.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I'm blessed. I'm with Toledo Central Catholic, who's won the Detroit City Championship. Now we're trying to win the Ohio State Championship. But when the defense or offense comes out, they sit down and look at a 112-inch TV and run every play that they just ran. Well, college can't do that. So college is last in technology on what they're using, unless you're Michigan and you're going out 2 or 3 games ahead of time filming me.
Talking to Coach Jerry Glanville right now on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Immediately what comes to mind, Coach, there was a Football Life that aired on the NFL Network, and Bill Parcells spoke about gamesmanship at one point when Bill Walsh would show up, and he was known for scripting plays. And the first go-around between the 49ers and the Giants, his phones went out. So when your headphones go out back in the day, the other team's headphones, that you could not wear them. So
you had to set on the ground.
Yeah. But
I remember that.
But I'm wondering how much of that went on, Coach.
Well, my deal against Bill Walsh, he hated us because we could beat him. And my deal was, if we could keep them from scoring the first 17 plays, then the game would be ours. Because he was planning on getting a touch or two on that script because that's all they were running and practicing. So what I would do, and in his book, he says, the guy he hated to coach against was us, because I would not do what I would do on down and distance ordinarily. His script was not on down and distance, so I took the defense off the down and distance. He was counting on the script. This is the order, whether it's third down, second down, first down. So I threw out the down and distance for the first 17 plays, and then we were very fortunate we would stop him. And if we stopped him on the script, then he actually had to go back and coach a little bit.
So,
by the way, did you see the article Saban had on me in the script practice?
Yeah.
No, I did not.
Yeah. Yes, I did. It was.
I guess he's got a radio show now. He's trying to compete with us, but he has no listeners. and they asked him about coaching with me, and I probably shocked him. I didn't allow the scripts in the team period because I found him and everybody else was looking at a piece of paper and not coaching the players. I think of team as individual for each position coach. Well, if you had script, I looked around and I got 5 guys reading, including him. I did away with the scripts for all the coaches. We got the call. That way you had to coach yourself through the play.
And I know exactly what you're saying, Coach, and that does happen. So I want to go back to this San Francisco thing.
Okay.
And so what you're saying is they run the first 17 plays are totally scripted no matter what? They never deviated from the script?
Yeah.
Like on 3rd and 1, they wouldn't deviate from the – really?
Once Jerry Glanville figured that out, then I made my calls. Not, ordinarily you would give me the personnel, how many tight ends, how many backs. Then you'd give me down and distance, and that would equate into the call. Well, the first 17 plays against Bill Walsh, I didn't want any of that. And what he hated about me, I would go happy hand grenades. He's counting on us sitting on a third, playing a zone, and I maybe be bringing 8 just to mess up the 17 play script.
That's fantastic.
So you just threw down and distance out too.
I did too. I was probably the only guy that said, I don't. And I have a guy. Nick was one of them that would give me the down and distance in one ear, and another guy would give me the personnel in the other ear, and then we'd make the call. Well, I would tell them when we played, do not give me anything for 17 plays. I don't want to hear one word because they're on a script and we're off of ours. We're going happy hand grenade.
So you just went off your script.
Yeah, I just went off what I thought was what I felt we were going to do.
So based on you went off what their personnel did.
Yeah, well, the first 17 plays, I was interested in who was in the game, and that was it.
Yeah, personnel.
If I had a fullback that ran a flare to the strong side, then I was dropping the Sam linebacker. You with me?
Yeah.
Yes.
If he wasn't in there, I was blitzing that guy. And you'd love this. They had a guy named Jerry Rice. Well, now you're my will linebacker. Now listen to this. You guys are gonna love this. You're the will linebacker, and they went trips. And you look out, there's one receiver to your side, and you look, and it's Jerry Rice. You walk off halfway, and you take his inside cuts. All right, back it up. They go trips left. You have one. You look over. It's not Jerry Rice. You blitz. So I reacted off of where they set their people.
I mean,
that's Nick. Yeah. He'd love that, wouldn't he?
Yeah. It sounds like Nick can learn a thing or two from you, Coach.
Well, a long time ago, he brought me something that was good. He brought me the over. I did not run the over till we hired Nick. And the over means rather than a linebacker over the strong side guard, there's a tackle in a nose position. And he played nose head up. And I had a good package, and I liked what we did. But he brought me that, which I've run ever since. And I run, and you'll like this, Wes, I run the over option with that tackle. And what's the option mean? He can go anywhere he wants because he's surrounded by a down lineman on each side of him.
Huh.
Ooh, boy.
Yeah.
And guess what? Wes watched 2 tackles do that. Doug Smith and Ray Childress. Wes was there.
Here's the deal. It messes people up because they got to slide to it in protection. Huge. And that means the back, you're going to have a gap. If you blitz a guy, there's going to be a huge gap to the backside. Huge, because you got to put, in the NFL, you got to put big on big.
Yeah,
you cannot put a back on a defensive end. They cannot block them.
No. In fact, it was bad blocking backs on linebackers this last week in the NFL was real bad also. Because the linebackers did something this week they haven't been doing. They've been running over and going kiss the guy. They went shoulder shake, Wes. The backer came, put his head in his helmet to the right, and then the arm came on the left, and the back could not take the 2 moves.
That's why they're back.
Yep. Coach, always fun to talk ball with you. It's especially this time of year. Can't thank you enough for your availability and your knowledge as well. It's always fun to talk with you, Coach.
Well, don't forget to set up the Bo Nix show.
That's right, yeah.
And
free cue, yeah.
If Toledo Central ends up playing for the state championship, we should do your show out of the end zone.
I think we can find one of those around here.
Come on.
Yeah. Thank you, Coach.
You two are the best. I hope your show doesn't get canceled.
We'll try. See you, Coach. That's Coach Jerry Glanville joining us. Let's go ahead and take our final time out of this first hour as we're live here from Mark Camara's Furniture Factory Bar and Grill. We'll be back.
You're listening to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Ann Adams with Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate is the one name to know if you're buying or selling real estate. With years of local experience, Ann Adams offers buyers in-depth knowledge of the local housing market and will narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in so you can save time when shopping for your new home. If you're ready to sell, Ann offers a seamless process using accurate pricing and expert negotiation skills to make sure you get a fair price for your home. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or log on bhhsriserealestate.com.
Not looking or feeling your best? No energy for the things you like to do? Ready to look and feel younger? Make your appointment at Advanced Life Clinic, one of the region's foremost destinations for patients interested in looking and feeling their best. Specializing in advanced laser treatments and weight loss, male and female rejuvenation to offset the effects of aging, and more. See how Advanced Life Clinic can help you enjoy your life again. Call 256-882-6555 or log on advancedlifeclinic.com.
Looking for your next game day party destination? Well, think outside the box and kick back at Flosa Premier. And you may be thinking, isn't that the trampoline place? Of course it is. But it's also the one-stop spot for all things fun. And if kicking back with the boys to watch the game is your jam, then you're in the right spot. Jump or not, Flo tends to all ages, meaning while you sit back and watch the game, but little Jimmy's having the time of his life perfecting that front flip he most definitely wants to show you. You got this, Jimmy. So next time you think Flo, think fun for everyone.
Tom Luganbill here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
Save on stuff you really need and stuff you bought for fun. Stuff you've always really wanted this holiday at Amazon. Stuff that is discounted if you're naughty or you're nice. Stuff to buy your grandma who drinks her Chardonnay with ice. Stuff to make you big and strong. Stuff we can name in this song. Stuff for lawns and decking halls. Save big on stuff at Amazon. Stuff.
Hi, my name is Dan Aldridge. I'm here to let you know about the Aldridge Law Firm and the soon-to-be-announced Legal Town Center. I've been practicing law in Alabama since 1984, and I also practice in Tennessee. And I'm from North Alabama, and I'm here to represent you and take care of your legal needs. For many of us, hiring an attorney is not high on the priority list, and maybe a little scary. But it's something that we all need at some point. So by all means, do your homework. And if you need representation for car accident, wrongful death, medical malpractice, nursing home abuse, or estate planning, or any other matter, just give us a call at 256-534-3188. And you can email me at Dan, that is Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. God bless America.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. Plenty of sunshine this afternoon. Really is going to be a beautiful day across the Tennessee Valley. Temperatures well above where we should be this time of year. Highs have no problem climbing into the upper 70s and lower 80s. We're only going to drop into the mid-50s as we head into the overnight, early Wednesday morning. Plenty of sunshine once again Wednesday afternoon. Temperatures climb into the lower 80s today. Some of us could be making a solid run at the mid-80s. Dropping into the lower 60s as we head into the overnight, early into your Thursday morning. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Hi, this is Eli Gold, voice of the Alabama Crimson Tide. Join us every week for Alabama football right here.
Listen to Alabama football all season long on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
The latest college football playoff poll is about to be unveiled at the top of the hour. We'll have that for you live right here as we are live at Mark Camara's Furniture Factory Bar and Grill. A lot of people look forward to this segment right here. Jen, kind enough to join us. How are you, Jen?
I'm good.
Good to see you.
Thank you, thank you. Now, I can't hear you, but I can read your lips.
Okay, all right. Is that any better?
Oh, there we are.
Okay.
There we are. Now I can hear you.
There you go.
How are you?
He did that to me too, Jen.
Oh, I'll read your lips. Of course, it's noisy back here tonight. I might have to do that anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, right?
Yeah.
We got it all enclosed
so
for the weather.
It's beautiful back here.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you're preparing for the colder weather.
We are.
And from what a few people here have told me is this actually expands for some bands to come in as well.
Hey, the party goes on. You gotta have space to party, right?
You do.
We really do, because it's that season. And you know, the one thing I do like about fall and this time of year is it does create a more intimate environment. So I do like that. So, anyway.
I agree.
For football games,
yes.
For, as we approach the holidays, it just makes it cozier. And we've got some fun local bands this weekend. We've got Groove. We've got all these really fun locals this weekend. Brian Elder, we're still doing that. So we've got Big Daddy Kingfish. So we've got good ones. Lots of football over the weekend. So
it's just going to get bigger. Yes, they play at Kentucky.
What time do they play?
11 a.m.
That means I'm going to feed everybody. So when they play, that means I feed them. So I'll do a really good buffet for everybody.
And then Auburn plays Arkansas.
At 6, maybe?
3.
Oh, at 3?
That's right. So that's a
11, 12,
natural
1, 2,
little
3.
doubleheader right there.
Oh, I guess I'll feed them too, huh?
With Alabama and Auburn fans.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah,
Well, I guess I'll be feeding all of God's children this Saturday, huh? Oh, my, what a busy day at the bar.
Nothing wrong with that.
No, but let's not talk about that. Okay.
Time for picks?
Yes, well, you know I'm on a winning streak.
Well, we know
Or
that.
that's what I was told.
Yeah.
I'm about ready to go to Vegas. They're so good.
The wrong Cox won, though.
The what?
Last week. The wrong Cox won last week.
Yeah, South Carolina did beat Jacksonville State,
Okay,
and you
so-
said Jacksonville State outright.
Right. I said
Yeah.
2-1. Now, last week, 2-1. But that's not bad, right?
No, still. We
Okay,
win 2,
so I lost
lose
South
1, yeah.
Alabama. Okay, I won Jack State. Okay, and I won Indiana plus 10. And then Indiana straight, right? All that?
Right, yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
All right, so that's
Yeah.
last week. Okay, so really if people are betting, 10,000, they're winning a lot of money.
Yes, that's true. Yes.
Mhm. Yeah, that's why I'm
Yeah.
thinking Vegas is looking
Well,
better
when you
and
win
better.
2 for 1, you actually you lost that one, but you won 3-1 on the other one. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you're up 2, and then you won the other one,
And 2 weeks
which
in
was
a row,
straight
I
up.
picked
Well,
a
yeah.
10-point underdog.
Yeah.
Got
So
Billy
yeah.
Walters over here.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. All right, so now let's talk about this week.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. How does Purdue sound? -1 over Minnesota. You like
Sounds
that
like
one?
you like it.
I think so. Isn't it Purdue purple?
No.
No. Who are you thinking of? Maybe Northwestern?
The Northwestern's purple.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I don't know why I thought that.
Purdue is the one with the big drum.
Okay.
Does that help? They're the Boilermakers.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay. All right. How about that? All right. Penn State +5 over Michigan.
You like Penn State?
Yeah.
Over
well,
Michigan.
I'm kind of from Penn State area.
Taking the points.
Okay, we like that.
At 5 points, which you would think,
You
just look at that line, you kind of thinking, well, yeah. I would bet normally I would look at that line, I'd say, I like Michigan.
Really?
But that means you should bet Penn State.
Okay. Oh, well, let's go with Penn State. Sound good? Okay, now the last one is Ole Miss. I even hate to say the word, but anyway.
Georgia?
Ole Miss +11 over Georgia.
All right.
You like that?
Yeah, I like it because my son coaches at Ole Miss.
Oh, okay. Ole Miss to win the whole game +350 odds.
Ole
So you
Miss
like
to
that?
win the whole game.
Gosh, I don't know. What do you like? I mean, I think
350 to 1.
That would be.
Wouldn't that be quite the game to watch?
That'd be a big
So
upset.
that's
Big
so
upset.
for every dollar you bet, you get 350.
Mm-hmm.
No, I think it's for every. If you bet $100, you get paid $350. That's what it is.
Well, I'm not good on this betting thing, only if I win, but all I know is that I think Ole Miss is the team to be the underdog to win, right?
Right.
Wow. You like
Because
Ole Miss.
I didn't say I like them. I was just saying it sounds like
She
good money.
can't. She's a Mississippi State fan.
Right.
So she can't.
Yeah, I was about to say that's.
It was hard for me to even say it and pull it
Yeah.
out. But it really comes down to the money.
I was looking at one side of her sheet. It says chicken tenders, beef chicken well.
Did you like all
skewers.
that? Yeah, all those that I sent you? Well, we had like a little tasting tonight. And so, we're doing holiday parties here, and so I'm bringing in some new food for holiday parties. I thought you could be my guinea pig.
Well, they
so
were
I
good.
just surprised you.
Yes, they
Yeah.
were good.
Is that okay?
10.5 is the number for one book. Georgia, most books have them up by 11
Really?
over the University of Mississippi.
Oh, boy. Yeah.
Yeah, so there's 350 odds. So if you bet $100, you get 350. Yes,
Well,
for
I'm gonna
Ole
bet 100.
Miss. And
Just
they
saying.
have Ole Miss.
Hey,
This says
I had no idea that
you
you had.
bet Ole Miss over plus and Ole Miss. You do bet both.
Really?
With the points in the so that's their pick of the week. Yes.
I don't know. That's the game to watch. Right?
Yes. That
Well,
is
we'll
the game.
say.
Kirby Smart was asked about his dog, not Lane Kiffin's dog, who's Juice. But Kirby evidently has a dog as well. Here's what Kirby had to say about his dog.
Yeah, I had a lot of bird dogs growing up and had to go feed them all the time. Didn't enjoy that, but that's one of my childhood memories is taking it out there in the cold weather to feed the dogs. But we have a dog now, Bess, that my wife loves to death, but we don't bring her around the team, so she doesn't get to hang out with the team like Juice does.
So Juice clearly has the advantage in knowing his team rather than Best.
Well, the other thing is I think Juice sees a lot more women than
you
Best.
Think?
Oh yeah.
You think? You think?
Yeah, more 100%. Yeah.
I'm with you on that.
Yeah. I think Juice has a lot of moms.
How do they get in contact with you, Jen?
Oh, yes. Well, they need to come out here for the game on Saturday. All the games, we've got them on, but it's FurnitureFactoryBarGrill.com. My cell 256-426-1989, or come on over. It's happy hour. We've got lots of drinks and great food.
And great people.
Yeah,
Yes,
and had a
great
listener
people.
come on by that wanted to put a name with the voice.
Great food and the best live entertainment is what it's all about at the Furniture Factory Bar and Grill. Head to downtown Huntsville every Tuesday for karaoke on the only outdoor karaoke stage in North Alabama. Thursday night is the Valley's longest running and biggest bike night. Food and drink specials, giveaways, and live music on the patio. And the Furniture Factory menu is fully loaded with options from steaks to salads, plus a whole lot more. Featuring a weekday happy hour that starts at 3, 619 Meridian Street, downtown Huntsville, and online at FurnitureFactoryBarGrill.com.
Tom Abraham here for my friends at North Alabama Mortgage. Are you thinking about home improvements? Well, use your equity now and refi later. Or use your equity to eliminate consumer debt forever, then refi to a lower rate and shorter term when rates drop. North Alabama Mortgage can also help you if you're thinking about buying an investment property or a second home at the lake or the beach or in the mountains. We have great programs to make that happen. Visit NorthAlabamaMortgage.com to learn more. That's NorthAlabamaMortgage.com.
WCZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
This is SportsCenter.
Jim Vasco, Michigan is preparing to take possible legal action if the Big Ten punishes the football program before a full investigation of allegations of impermissible scouting and sign stealing. The university has been given notification of potential disciplinary action. The Big Ten gave the school until this week to respond. Paul Feinbaum on the likelihood the school and Jim Harbaugh face discipline.
Right now, it looks pretty likely that Harbaugh is going to be suspended. Now, it's a dangerous game to try to figure out a commissioner who is being pulled and twisted and turned a million different ways. But remember something about the Big Ten commissioner. What is his objective here? He's trying to satisfy the 13 other schools who are barking at the gates like barbarians, wanting something to be done. But he's also trying to preserve the Big Ten as it's about to enter the biggest year in its history, adding 4 schools from the West Coast. And Michigan right now is possibly the best hope for the Big Ten to win a national championship. So you don't want to kill the goose that laid the golden egg. By suspending Harbaugh, now he would be able to say, listen, I did all I could, and now we'll let the NCAA handle it.
NFL, the Rams signing quarterback Carson Wentz, who had been out of the league this season. The Cowboys signing wide receiver Martavis Bryant to the practice squad. He'd been out of the league since 2018. And Yankees owner Hal Steinbrenner says he consulted with current and former players along with staff on whether to keep Aaron Boone before deciding the New York manager will return next year. The Yankees finished 82-80 last season, missing the playoffs for the first time since 2016.
Hey, it's Evan Cohen. Coming up Wednesday, we'll continue to update all the drama around Jim Harbaugh, plus Wemby makes his Broadway debut. It's on Sportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
.97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Welcome to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline, 256-576-4977.
That's how I roll. And I'm not going to drink and drive anymore.
That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Wes and Steve.
It is time to turn things over to the worldwide leader as the second rankings are about to come out. Let's hand things over to ESPN with Reese Davis, Booger McFarland, Joey Galloway, and the cast of thousands.
Second week of the college football playoff rankings. Earlier today in Grapevine, Texas, 12 of the 13 committee members were there. Ward Manuel, the athletic director at Michigan, not in attendance, staying behind in Ann Arbor to attend to matters concerning the investigation into the alleged sign stealing by Michigan there. So 12 members putting together the rankings, which we will unveil shortly. Reese Davis, along with Booger McFarland, Joey Galloway, Greg McElroy, and Kirk Herbstreit. So storylines from this past week provided some scares, provided a little bit of flex, and just a little bit of clarity. Washington went into the Coliseum, first time since 2015, remained undefeated, put 52 on USC. Defensive coordinator Alex Grinch relieved of his duties in the aftermath of that loss by the Trojans to the Huskies. Alabama, another strong second half, and particularly the fourth quarter, pulled away from LSU. They go to 8-1. They are on the verge of locking up a spot in the SEC championship. So too is Georgia. Missouri played its tail off. Missouri Stackhouse came up with that interception late, and the Dogs have now won 26 in a row. They remain unbeaten. They've got Ole Miss this week. And Oklahoma State capped off Bedlam for the foreseeable future by knocking Oklahoma out of the college football playoff hunt for all intents and purposes, and probably out of the Big Ten race as well. So as we get ready to see these rankings, Kirk, what are you expecting in the committee's second set of rankings?
Well, I think we continue to look at the AP poll where they have Georgia and Michigan 1 and 2, and Ohio State with a resume last week. The committee puts them up at 1. But the one thing that's standing out to me, Reese, is with only 4 weeks left to go, and we're about to unveil the second week of the rankings. I can't remember the last time all 5 of the Power 5 conferences had a team or teams in the mix. Usually by now we've kind of, well, the Pac-12's out of it, the Big 12's out of it. You start to think about, will the SEC get 2? Will the Big Ten get 2? And right now, as we approach this second week of November, we're looking at all 5 of these conferences alive, and hopefully it'll stay that way all the way to the end. So as you say, we'll have plenty of chaos on that last weekend.
Well, we always do that 4-hour show on Sundays.
Yes,
we do. The last few years.
We need something. We need something.
4 hours worth.
Cut and dry. We have 4 hours. Well, we know what's going to happen. Maybe a little drama wouldn't be so bad. Waiting on that to see. Speaking of that, remember, we don't see the rankings until you do. So the latest rankings from the College Football Playoff Selection Committee coming your way right now, brought to you by Prudential, and we will start from the bottom up. Kansas State, after not being able to get out of Austin, missing an opportunity to upset the Longhorns. They barely stay in the rankings, falling a couple of spots. North Carolina is back in the mix. Got a little bit of a long shot to get to the ACC championship game, and there is Tulane.
Yeah, I just love what Tulane's doing, led by the quarterback Michael Pratt, just playing really, really good football this year. Physical on both sides of the line of scrimmage, and they can score a ton of points.
Iowa, despite being offensively challenged, wind blowing in at Wrigley helped score down on Saturday, 10-7. And then Arizona, one of the hottest teams in the country. What a job Jed Fish is doing. Kurt Bowl eligible and in the rankings.
Jed Fish, I didn't know if I could jump in there. Yeah, Jed Fish, the job that they've done out there, the physicality, playing with a couple quarterbacks. Noah Fafita has stepped in there. That's a serious team to start to watch in a program that they're really building the right way.
They've got a couple of outstanding receivers to go with Fafita, too. In the next group, Notre Dame, after losing at Clemson, you saw that one, Greg. They fall 5 spots to number 20.
Yeah, LSU and Notre Dame important here. Obviously, 2 teams now with 3 losses. That doesn't necessarily mean a lot as far as the New Year's Six is concerned, but it puts a bit of a dent in the resumes for Ohio State, who is kind of hinging on a big win against Notre Dame, and then Florida State, who had a big win against LSU earlier in the year. So those 2 teams taking the 3rd loss, maybe not about their future, but about some other teams that could have an impact.
Kansas also a very impressive team, what they've been able to do, jumping up 5 spots with a win against Iowa State this past weekend. The Big 12, once again, it just speaks to the depth of that conference and how good they've been all season long.
Oklahoma taking that tumble down to 17, and now it'll be difficult for the Sooners to work their way back into that Big 12 championship game. But as you said, still several more weeks to play, and just about anybody can pull an upset in that conference. Oklahoma State is surging. They go 7 spots up to 15, and they've got a clear path. They only play the Big 12 newbies the rest of the way, and if they win out, they'll be in the Big 12 championship.
And they belong, too. I mean, they have 3 legitimate wins against 6-3 Kansas State, 7-2 Kansas, 6-3 West Virginia, and then the big win last week against the Sooners in Bedlam. They deserve this ranking at this point. Actually, I think you could make a pretty strong argument they're probably a little bit too low.
And it just shows you the committee's watching. Missouri goes into Athens, plays a really good game against Georgia, only drops 2 spots. So it's not just when you lose how you play in that game.
Tennessee knocked off a tough UConn team and jumped up 4 spots.
I actually, I don't think I moved Missouri at all in my AP poll last week after.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's good.
They went to Georgia, they lost. They played well. Everybody loses to Georgia. And keep an eye on Louisville too. I don't know that Louisville controls its destiny, but they can play their way into contention.
Yeah, they'll get a shot if they keep winning. They've been impressive.
They can run the football and they can defend in the front 7. They're legit.
Oregon State's going to have a shot at some of the teams in the Pac-12 that you'll see ranked a little higher coming up in a matter of moments. Penn State back into the top 10. The Nittany Lions have Michigan coming in, and there's still that possibility in the Big Ten East for all of the home teams winning their games and a 3-way tie atop the Big East.
I think Penn State being at number 10 is huge for Michigan. We've only talked about who they haven't played. Finally, we get to see they go to Penn State. I think Penn State at home is a different football team. With their whiteouts and that crowd, they're incredible to play at home. So it'll be a first test we finally get to see Michigan play someone.
And here's the thing I'll say for Penn State. If not now, when? Because we've been waiting on you. You got your quarterback. Can you be explosive on the outside? We're tired of seeing 3 yards in a cloud of dust. You're going to have to get some big plays if you're going to beat Michigan.
And they're still an underdog. All of these games, they have the record against top 10 teams. They're almost always the underdog. They are again on Saturday at number 9. Hotty toddy. Kirk, you'll have a good look at Ole Miss against Georgia this weekend. Lane Kiffin's team at number 9.
Yeah, College game day headed to Athens for a big showdown with Ole Miss and Georgia. Lane Kiffin, every single year he seems to come up with offenses that know how to score against anybody they play. Pete Golding comes over from Alabama to give them a presence on that side of the ball. They're giving up numbers, guys, but the one thing Georgia needs to be concerned about this week is the pass rush. They do a great job of getting after the quarterback, and here they are up in the top 10 again for the second week in a row.
At number 8. Alabama, Ole Miss's only loss coming in Tuscaloosa at the hands of the Crimson Tide, and after beating LSU, the Tide on the verge of locking up a spot in the SEC championship.
Ed, I don't know who's beating Alabama with Jalen Milroe playing like that. Yeah. Realizing I don't have to pass to beat teams. He could play starting running back for a lot of teams across the country. And in that game against LSU, he decided, I'm going to take this game over, whether it's passing or running, but his ability is amazing.
And one thing to notice here, Alabama, them holding serve, getting one of the best wins of their season against LSU, they don't move in the rankings. They were 8 last week. They're 8 again this week. It basically indicates at the moment they don't control their own destiny, which I think is an unsettling feeling for a lot of Alabama fans.
Yeah. They're close, though.
I was thinking the same thing, Reese.
You beat Georgia.
I don't know about that.
You beat Georgia.
I think they're really close, but I think you could also look at an undefeated Big Ten. You got Texas in front of you. That's the elephant in the room, unfortunately. So there's a lot of things right now that Alabama, I think, is still in good shape. Believe it or not, if they win out, I think there's 95% likelihood they're in, but there's not 100% likelihood, and that's unsettling.
Number 7. There is the Longhorns. Now, I said this week, I think Texas escaping an upset for the second time this year. Rhythm of the season going, and now the teams in front of them and likely to make the Big 12 championship game sort of play into their strengths. They want to run the ball. You're not running on Texas.
Right.
And I think Texas has a tremendous shot to make it into the playoffs.
I agree. And I don't really like right now Texas.
So they are kind of stalling right here for the top 6. The top 6 are the same teams. We just don't know what order yet. Bama's staying put at number 8.
Doesn't surprise me.
I really doesn't surprise me either. I mean, the hot take wonder there. I think
the 14 teams gonna.
I think Alabama does indeed control their own destiny.
I do too.
If they win the SEC, they are going to the Final Four. I mean, what other statement needs to be said?
One thing we haven't talked about, but I think it's fairly obvious. Early in the year, we thought the East might be the better side.
Yeah, that's not the case. Not at all. Not at all. Let's head back to the worldwide leader.
Well, then Michigan should be in the conversation also. They literally played nobody.
Well, but Michigan,
so if you're talking about resume versus eye test,
but take the undefeated.
then you have to throw them. Yeah, but either way, though, if we're talking resume versus eye test, and where Michigan has been ranked in playing absolutely nobody to this point in the season, I think the committee is saying that the eye test is valuable in this situation, not just resume. Because if we're just going resume, then we got to move Michigan down.
Yeah, we'll talk about that a little bit more after we look at the top 6 now. And I think there's some good cases to be made. Michigan's strength of schedule is below 100. Oregon, to Greg's point, is in the 60s. But Oregon's going to have games starting this week with USC. They still have Oregon State. They're going to have opportunity to get more ranked wins. And there are the Ducks. Bo Nix, quarterback of the Ducks, will join us a little bit later on in this college football playoff top 25. Oregon sitting at number 6, just ahead of the Ducks at 5. Washington, and of course the only loss. To your point, Greg, I know they haven't won, but I think they're also getting some eye test credit for the way they played against undefeated Washington, too.
I think you're 100% correct, Reese. When you look at Oregon, the eye test, how you played in that game. Washington, you give them all the credit for overcoming and winning that game, but Oregon was right there. And I think if you watch that game, you said if the ball goes a different way, Oregon just might be a better team than Washington. So they're getting credit for that.
I'm all for it, and we can have the discussion in a minute. I'm just, as long as Washington's ahead of Oregon, I'm good with that. But the debate between 6 through 8 needs to continue on, because I don't think it's as much of a slam dunk as everyone wants to make it at the moment.
Some of that's going to play out because in all likelihood, barring SC upsetting Oregon this weekend in Autzen, these two teams will play again in the Pac-12 championship game. Still some road to plow before they get to that. At number 4. Okay, so Florida State stays firm at number 4. They were missing some guys this weekend, not overly impressive against Pittsburgh. They've got Miami coming up this weekend as they try to close the deal and make it to the ACC championship game, which they've already clinched a spot in. At number 3. So Michigan still sitting at number 3. Their season really starts on Saturday in Happy Valley against Penn State. So, Kirk, before we reveal 1-2, what's your gut tell you? Are we going to see a flip-flop, or is it going to be? Is it still going to be Ohio State at number 1?
I think based on what they did last week, it'll be Ohio State 1 and Georgia 2.
I'm going to say Georgia 1, Ohio State 2.
I think it's going to be Ohio State still number 1.
You're not asking me
Georgia 2.
You're not asking me my rankings. You're asking me what the committee's going to do.
Yeah,
right?
Yes. Yeah, we'll get to that.
Yeah,
we'll get there in a minute.
Alabama beat the committee.
I think they'll.
Alabama beat the committee's number 14 team and didn't get a bump. So Georgia beat the committee's number 12 team. Will they get a bump? Or is it going to be very similar to what happened to Alabama?
Or it could be because Ohio State, though they covered, they struggled for a while. Good Rutgers team, but maybe not. Let's see who number 2 is. Standing pat. Bulldogs still at number 2, and for the second straight week, the number 1 team in the country, according to the College Football Playoff Selection Committee, Ohio State at 9-0.
See, I got a little bit of an issue with that because if we said last week that Georgia's resume last week was good enough to be number 2, they should have gotten a bump this week for playing the committee's number 12 ranked team in Missouri and beating them.
You can't go anywhere, Boog. How much bump can you get?
They can go from 2 to 1 if their resume was good enough last week to be the number 2 team.
But if number 1 won, I mean, they won. Now, I agree. It wasn't the prettiest thing. Yeah. And I have asked this question for a decade now. What happens when you have a top 10 win against a Notre Dame team, which then goes on to lose to Louisville, which then goes on to lose to Clemson, and they move down? Yeah. Where does the committee place that on your resume? I think the committee is saying in this situation that they still get a lot of credit for knocking off a really good Notre Dame team, even though sitting here today, that Notre Dame team is number 20. I think the resume is still good enough to be number 1.
And, Kirk, as we compare these two, you see, I mean, there's 70 spots different in strength of schedule. Ohio State is 20. Georgia is 90. Now, the rest of the way, Georgia has the 3rd toughest remaining. But look, I mean, 1, 2, whatever. I mean, they're going to play in different semifinals anyway, the way it goes. But at the moment, it is an interesting debate. I asked you guys last week, Ohio State's number 1. Consensus was they have the best resume. The question is, are they the best team? After what you saw last week, where do you stand on that?
You just want me to have to say it every week? Is that what you're asking me again?
When the committee comes in and every week they change, at some point, Ohio State might convince you they're the best team. That's not unreasonable.
Yeah, if they beat Michigan in Ann Arbor, then I think everybody would say they're the best team. If Ryan Day were sitting here right now, he would tell you that they're not executing in a way offensively that makes him feel good and makes him feel like they're a consistent team and living up to what his standards are. So as of right now, I don't think they're a complete team to be ranked at the number one spot. Now, the resume says they are, so it's fine. They're up at number one. To me, I would have Georgia and Michigan ahead of them based on what they're doing on the field. I know you guys like metrics and analytics and all that, but I watch the games and I watch these teams play, and I look at Georgia and Michigan as teams that are a little bit more complete than Ohio State. I want to throw one thing in about what Greg said. If Texas wins out and Alabama wins out, there's no way Alabama's going ahead of Texas. So I don't know what's going to happen around them, but can you imagine if Alabama were to knock off Georgia and Texas were to win the Big 12? What in the heck do you do with Alabama? I think the debate becomes more about Alabama and an Oregon-Washington debate or discussion if Oregon were to win out. There's no way Texas is going to be left out if they win out and Alabama's ends up being the SEC champ.
Well, Alabama's a top 10 strength of schedule. So they're going to fare pretty well against other one-loss teams other than Texas.
One issue there, though, is then
other than Texas,
and Kirk's 100% correct, and Texas should go in front of Alabama.
Absolutely.
There's no one that would push back on that. But what you're telling people, to an extent, is, hey, you know what? Just schedule Texas Tech in the preseason. Because Texas Tech that's who Oregon played. And Oregon went on the road and looked ugly in that game, by the way. Got a late touchdown that made it look a little better. But if you look at the strength of record, it's not comparable. Alabama and Texas are both operating right now pretty well. I wouldn't say that they're passing the eye test with flying colors, but they don't have the luxury of playing Cal. And I'm not trying to take shots at Cal. I'm not trying to take shots at Colorado and these other teams. I'm not. But I just think why is the committee, and this committee is irritating me, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't understand.
Irritated.
Yeah, I can tell he is.
Frustrated.
But we're in week 2, though.
I know, but why are we using resume to define Ohio State as number 1? We're using eye test to define Georgia and Michigan as 2 and 3. We're using resume plus eye test to define Florida State at 4. And then we like Washington, but they got
bothering you that there's no consistency.
There's no consistency.
Okay. See,
if it's resume,
I hear this every
I disagree with that also.
I think there is consistency.
I think so, too.
What they're talking about when they come in is not. It's only because of Ohio State's resume. It is the thing that differentiates at the margins Ohio State from these other. I think you can make a reasonable case for any of the top 5 that are undefeated. If you put any of them number 1, I wouldn't pound the table if Washington were number 1. I really wouldn't.
That's why I want to remove the undefeateds for a moment, because they've earned their right. 1 through 5 in whatever order they're in, because they went out, they handled their business. They're in good shape. But the conversation at the moment, right now, as we take a snapshot of the college football landscape, the conversation between 6, 7, and 8 needs to be a real one, because Oregon's getting propped up by a big win against a very average Utah team.
Yeah, but you're getting upset in week 2. Now you have Reese upset in week 2.
But it could matter.
Me and Booger sitting here cool. Here's the thing.
I'm not saying it doesn't matter.
Hey, look, in a couple weeks, I'm going to jump on the table with you and Reese. But we're in week 2. And I've never seen Reese get upset in week 2.
I'm not really upset. I'm just making sure we get
You had that look in your eye.
Who do you think should be the top one-loss team?
Who do I think would win if they all play each other on neutral field?
That's a different question. Right for who would you rank as the top one-loss team?
It should be Texas. They have the best resume. They have 5 wins against teams with ranked teams that are above 500, including a win on the road in Tuscaloosa.
All right, they will continue that argument, and
so time will.
Yeah, this will all come out in the wash.
Yeah.
You'd like to believe, but if there are 5 undefeated teams at the end of the year, that's going to be an issue.
Well, there can't be. That's impossible.
Oregon's a one-loss team.
Well, first of all, Georgia, Ohio State and Michigan play each other.
That's true.
So that can't be.
Yep.
So there you go.
So we'll be down to 4 right there.
Right. Easy.
Yep. Done.
And then Oregon, most likely, if USC, if they don't lose to USC, will play Washington again.
That's right.
So that'll eliminate another one of those.
And
so
then
there you go.
Who's coming down that track?
Yeah. Well, then Georgia, Alabama, they'll eliminate the other one.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah.
There's the three. We're arguing about nothing.
I know.
So there you go. They're arguing about nothing. But I get their point. I me and I don't think 14 SEC schools are
Mr. SEC 14.
14 schools
all
are making
14 are going to make the bowl.
Game. That is not happening.
Yeah, no. For those of you that don't know what we're talking about, at Media Days, Mr. McElroy just joined us and boldly said all 14 are going bowling.
And I jumped in and I'm like, there must be 16 teams now then.
Yeah.
Are we counting? Who are we counting?
Texas,
I thought we were trying
Oklahoma,
to be. Yeah, I thought
SEC 16.
Yeah, I thought that had to be.
Let's go ahead and take our first time out. We'll open it up to your phone calls on the other side. 256-576-4977. We'll be right back.
Log on today, 977ESPN.com. You're listening to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Tom Luganbill here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
Are you tired of chasing a roofing contractor to show up on time or even show up at all? I'm Sam Fleming with Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Our motto at Fleming Roofing is we show up. Our goal at Fleming Roofing is to provide the reliable customer service that you deserve, and we have the resources to meet all of your roofing needs: residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. We are manufacturer certified for roof coatings, single-ply membranes, and asphalt shingles. Whenever you need a roofing professional you can count on, call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We are committed to finding the solution that meets your needs. We don't have quotas or heavy-handed sales tactics. Fleming Roofing, we have expert experience. We show up. Free estimates, residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. Check us out at FlemingHSV.com. FlemingHSV.com. When you need a quick response, it's Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
Ann Adams with Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate is the one name to know if you're buying or selling real estate. With years of local experience, Ann Adams offers buyers in-depth knowledge of the local housing market and will narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in so you can save time when shopping for your new home. If you're ready to sell, Ann offers a seamless process using accurate pricing and expert negotiation skills to make sure you get a fair price for your home. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or log on bhsriserealestate.com.
When I chose a garage door company, I did my homework. I needed Precision Overhead Garage Door Service. They have a 5-star Google rating. I checked their reviews and liked what their customers had to say. Precision Overhead Garage Door has lifetime warranty packages. Same-day service if I call before 2 p.m. If they can't make it the same day, my service call fee the next day is waived. They did a 25-point safety inspection on the door and operator. Now that's peace of mind. Residential, commercial, and gate services. Precision Overhead Garage Door Service. Call 256-400-4500.
The End Zone Sports Bar has done it again. This time, they're bringing their jumbo wings, handcrafted burgers, Tex-Mex, and New York-style pizza to the Midtown District with their new location on McMurtry Drive Northwest opposite the Target Plaza. Tuesdays at the End Zone means half-price burgers, and Wednesday is $1 jumbo wings all day long. The End Zone also features Sunday ticket for all your NFL viewing. The newest End Zone Sports Bar in the Midtown District on McMurtry near the Target Plaza. Get in the End Zone.
At Mr. Sparky, we're America's on-time electrician. Flickering lights and hot switches can be annoying, but they can also signal a major problem, or worse, an electrical emergency. So play it safe and leave it to the experts at Mr. Sparky. Trust our team of professional, clean, and friendly electricians. We'll get it done right and get it done safely.
You don't have to put up with any malarkey. Call 888-8
Independently owned and operated. Licensed in the respective state or county.
Since 1986, Full Moon Barbecue has been cooking quality meats low and slow over a hickory wood-fired pit. From ribs and wings, brisket, turkey, catfish, and sausage to the best butts in town. If you're planning a holiday or a birthday party, Full Moon has a large banquet room. And Full Moon is ready for your next catering or tailgate. Just call us and we'll take care of everything. 256-713-0070. Full Moon Barbecue on the Parkway next to Costco. The best little pork house in Alabama.
Back here with you on the drive, along with Wes Neighbors. Steve Moulton back here with you. The chair committee in Boo Corrigan is currently talking to Reese Davis.
To add on to, what is their resume? How do they look? Who's been out? Who's coming back? To make sure, with strength of schedule, with the statistics, with watching the games, including everyone in the room, to make sure that we're getting all the varying opinions, just like you are tonight in the studio, right? Mm-hmm. You want as many opinions as you can to come out with what we believe is the right answer.
How does the committee look at this committee? And I'm sure it probably differs from year to year with different members. But how does the committee evaluate what a game looked like when the game was played as opposed to what a team is now? The examples I will cite, when Ohio State beat Notre Dame, seemed like a huge game. Notre Dame has lost a couple since then. Maybe it's not the same. LSU, to a lesser extent, also has lost a couple. That impacts Florida State's resume. How does the committee evaluate big win?
We're going to break into the coverage right here and talk to Bill Bender from the Sporting News, who's kind enough to join us. A lot of moving parts going on right now. Bill, I really appreciate the time on short notice. How are you this evening, sir?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. Well, no change in the committee's eyes. Did that surprise you at all, Bill?
Not really. I mean, I think it's getting closer to, if they were to change one thing tonight, it might have been Georgia over Ohio State. I think that could happen next week if Georgia has an impressive victory against Ole Miss. Everything else looks by the book. I mean, the top 10 solid. I mean, a lot of people on social media are joking that they could have probably just emailed these in, and they're probably right.
So the other story is Michigan. What are you hearing that is going on at the Big Ten office? Could it affect this season, you think, Bill?
It could affect what happens with Jim Harbaugh, possibly. I mean, punishment. They sent an notice of punishment that the Big Ten was investigating. Michigan had until tomorrow to respond. So I think tomorrow is going to have some fireworks. Rather what that punishment is. Will Michigan take legal action in return? What does it mean for Jim Harbaugh? As far as the Wolverines on the field, I don't think it will impact them, other than we'll see what kind of distraction it is. I think we'd all be naive to think that within three weeks of media coverage and everything that has happened with Connor Stallions, that wouldn't have some level of impact on a football team. I mean, these are 18 to 22-year-old kids. They are on their phones.
So did Jim ever serve the 4 games?
The 2 games. It was 3 games right out of the gate, right? It was right up until Rutgers.
Yeah, so he served a 3 game, but they wanted more, correct? Already.
That was a previous NCAA case where they had negotiated a 4-game suspension. That fell apart. So Michigan handed down a 3-game self-imposed suspension of Jim Harbaugh. And that was served. But that case will be expected to be heard over the summer. So it looks like you have a backlog now. You have 2 NCAA cases, and there's 4 weeks left in the regular season. So I don't know what they're going to do there. And predicting the NCAA versus predicting Jim Harbaugh. I mean, it does sound from everything that's been read and reported over the last couple of days that whatever punishment is handed down by the Big Ten is going to be met with some resistance from Michigan. I think that's the fairest thing we could say.
But you believe that suspension of the head coach will be the punishment if there is a punishment, correct?
Well, I mean, all along I've kind of believed that if they were going to do something, it would be a 1 to 2 game suspension of Jim Harbaugh within the purview of the commissioner, that he can suspend the 2 games. So maybe he misses Maryland, maybe he misses Penn State, but if Michigan files an injunction or tries to, sue or whatever they need to do to get a stay and push that back, going to create more negative publicity. This is the hard part here for Big Ten Commissioner Tony Petitti is it's not going away. And I think it's the hard part for Michigan too, is you can't just make this go away. It's been out there, it's been reported, Connor Stalions resigned. So at what point is there some punishment level for what went on? I think we can all agree that, despite the fact that nothing's been linked to Jim Harbaugh, we've all seen a lot of the evidence. This is probably the casualty of letting an investigation, and I've kind of used the phrase trial by Twitter, and that's what's kind of happened.
Talking to Bill Bender right now on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. And Bill, on the field, what do you think of the matchup now that Michigan finally has their best win so far is Rutgers? Is that fair to say? But what do you think about the matchup at Penn State this weekend?
It's going to be a tough one. It's going to be a defensive battle. You're talking about 2 of the best defenses in the country. And Penn State went to Ohio State and they lost by 8 points. They couldn't get the offense going, but now they're at home. So it's up to them to hold serve. Michigan hasn't been challenged by a team like Penn State this year. Michigan's running game isn't quite what it was last year. So, plus, you've got all these distractions going on. And like I said, you'd be naive to believe that hasn't had some impact. Although on the field at this point, they've had 2 games since, and they've outscored those opponents 90-13. So, I don't know. I'm going to guess that it's going to be a really good game on Saturday. Penn State will be playing with some sort of desperation, and anybody just kind of writing off them, probably pretty foolish. They're tough at home.
Yeah. What did you think of the Alabama-LSU game over the weekend, Bill?
Well, I think Alabama is just finding ways to win with their quarterback. They've kind of, as great coaches do, has found a way to tailor that offense around Jalen Milroe's strengths. He had all the touchdown runs. He did everything that Jaden Daniels did in that game, and Jaden Daniels coming into that game was the nation's leader in total offense. So pretty good. And I think Alabama has pretty realistic shot to get their swing at, provided they take care of business at Kentucky, they'll win out, I think, and they'll get their swing at Georgia at the end of the road. And that will be very interesting because, for Alabama, it's getting a chance to play yourself in the playoff. For Georgia, who has ranked opponents the next 2 weeks, it would be a chance to continue building their resume and impressive win streak.
Is Florida State this year's TCU, or are they better than TCU from a year ago, you think?
That's a good question. I think offensively and probably talent-wise with NFL first-round guys, probably a little better. They've used the transfer portal well. They've cruised in the ACC. They beat LSU in the opener, and that was a huge win at the time and still is a big one to have. I think the problem for Florida State is they don't really have a lot of margin for error in the ACC because the strength of schedule isn't there. There's only 2 other ranked ACC teams in Louisville and North Carolina. So, we'll see how that works out. But, right now, Florida State's sitting in a good spot. They're the one team in the top 4 probably talking least about and have the easiest schedule down the stretch.
That's well put. Bill, I can't thank you enough for hopping on and dissecting a little this top 25. Tell the folks where they can read your stuff, and, of course, Twitter or X or whatever they call it this week as well, sir.
I know. It's always good. Thanks for fitting me in. I know it's a pretty busy time, but, always glad to talk to you guys down there. Hope all is well. I'm at Bill Bender 92, and you can read our coverage over there at Sporting News.
Thank you so much, sir.
Oh, no problem. Take care.
That is Bill Bender, kind enough to join us here on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Let's talk to Mark from Spring Hill, Tennessee, up next. How are you, Mark?
Doing real well. How about you guys?
Doing well.
Is Wes there?
I am here.
Wes, I'm going to tell on Steve. Ready?
Uh-oh. What did I do now?
Steve picked against your mighty Tide. You were out.
Oh, he knows that. Yeah. I went with LSU, and that made him feel even better about the game.
Yeah, that usually does.
Yeah.
But let me tell you about Steve. What I like about him is that he can do that. He's objective. There's no red glasses on or anything. But I was just get a little play in there. But I really do think that I guess I'm one of the few. And although Wes, you have been a Milrose fan for most of the season, I just think that he's coming into his own, and I think I brought this up last week. I'll bring it up again. If you add this package of him running, where you stretch the field with the receivers that Alabama now has sort of emerging, it just seems to me that, I think y'all just asked the guy you just had on, should the committee, did they get it right? You could have just emailed it in. Well, I disagree. I mean, Alabama's sitting at 8. Are we saying that they're the 8th best team in college football? Can you do that with a straight face?
Well, right now, I was looking at Sarrigan rankings.
Number 3.
No. Yeah, Alabama's number 3.
Yeah.
But they have the hardest schedule according to their number 1 schedule strength of everybody. And the number 1 team, Michigan's at 71st. And I thought McElroy brought up the best question out there. Is that who wants to play a top 10? Why don't you just play Texas Tech instead of Texas? Why don't you do that?
Yeah.
Because you're being punished for losing a game, and you got the number 1 schedule, and you put on a performance like they did Saturday, and you're still at 8. Now, personally, I don't, like I said before, I thought Alabama would be 8. But I thought he made a good point. And then looking at these rankings, how can you have and now this has Michigan number 1 also.
Yes, it does.
But if you don't play a top 70 schedule, and now there are 261 teams.
Yeah.
How in the world should you be eligible to be a top? You know what I'm saying? I don't even think you should be able to be eligible.
Yeah.
That's what'll stop all this. I mean, at least they play one good team, one out of conference. They don't even do that. Anyway, so
Well,
that's
that was my last. I'll let you go on this. Kirby Smart may be the smartest, no pun intended, coach in college football. He's won 2 straight titles. He's going for his 3rd, and he knows, he's picked up on that it doesn't matter what happens in September. It matters in November. And Coach Saban has always played the tough games early, and he's got I think he's been 15-1. He's always won these big openers. Texas was the first loss, and since he's been there on these big games. But I guess my point is, does Alabama need to rethink this idea of, let's do like Georgia and play Ball State and UAB and kind of get get your team prepared in like preseason. I mean, why not? Because
it really goes into what we've been talking about for quite some time, Mark. Appreciate the phone call, of schedule alignment as well. Of all the Power 5 teams either playing the same amount of conference games or just the same amount of Power 5 teams, period.
Well, I think Power 5 teams is better. These conferences are not built the same. Let's not kid ourselves.
Yeah.
And anyway, it's just interesting to me. You look at Oregon's schedule, and of course I'm looking at it, they have them number 4, and their schedule strength 60th. 60th. So I think all of it will work itself out. And this has LSU in the top 10 because their schedule strength is 4th.
I'll tell you what, let's go ahead and take our final timeout right now. I'm going to try to hop in the teleconference with Boo Corrigan, who's about to have his teleconference there in Texas as the second iteration of these rankings have just come out.
You're listening to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Here's Bobby White from Woody Anderson Ford on their service department.
President's Award winner 2 years in a row. That's only given to the top 10% of Ford dealers in customer satisfaction. So we're very proud of the service department. And our body shop. If you happen to get into an accident, which not a lot of people just want to go down and see a body shop, but if you get into an accident, award-winning body shop. We have the state-of-the-art paint booths back there. They're waterborne paints that we use, friendly for the environment. We've got our production system, the way things are in and out. We have the fastest cycle rate in town of getting your vehicle in, getting your vehicle out, and assured that it's fixed right. We take pictures before it's wrecked, and not only after, but we take it as we're putting the parts on. All done to above industry standards. So I'm proud of our body shop too. Don't forget our parts department. So if you happen to need parts, performance parts, or just parts if you're a weekend mechanic.
Woody Anderson Ford, located at the corner of Jordan and Sparkman, as well as Hughes Road and Madison. You can also check out the great deals at WoodyAndersonFord.com.
There's nothing like the freedom you feel when you're on the water in your own boat from Freedom Marine in Guntersville. And when it's time to get your boat ready for cold weather, Freedom Marine is your best choice to winterize your boat so it's ready to go next spring. If you've been thinking about a new boat, Freedom Marine has a great selection on sale now with some of the biggest discounts they've had in a decade. For new and used boats, outboard, sales, financing, service, and parts, it's Freedom Marine. Highway 431 in Guntersville and online at freedommarincenter.com.
Hey there, Bob Baumhauer here. Score big deals at Baumhauer's this football season and order from our Inflation Bites menu. Try our Buffalo Wing Special with fries and a complimentary beverage for only $9.99. And what's football without a cold beer? Our pitchers of Yingling and Yingling Flight are only $7.99, served all day, 7 days a week. And huddle up, football fans. Sign up today for our free NFL Pick'em contest at Baumhauers.com for weekly prizes. Baumhauers, legendary fun and legendary food.
When our lives were interrupted, Madison Academy immediately began distance learning instruction thanks to our Apple device program and a well-prepared faculty.
When our success in athletics led to a new competitive balance rule, Madison Academy was prepared to face the new challenges head-on.
We understand a thing or two about winning, and it always begins with preparation. Learn how our balanced approach to learning prepares the mind, body, and soul. Visit our website at macademy.org to learn more. Strong minds, strong faith, that's Madison Academy.
Our customers want best-in-class solutions. That's why we've recently added many new vendors like Zebra barcode printers. Our next level team has added premier automation solutions. We're not here to sell you just one product, and we love helping you find the right solution to your specific needs. That's what doing the right thing is all about, and that's why our customers have come back for over 50 years.
Tom Abraham here for my friends at North Alabama Mortgage. Did you know that average home equity is at an all-time high? But so is average consumer debt. Even though rates are higher now, you can use your equity to pay off your high consumer debt, student loans, etc., then refi when the rates drop. Don't put off that new home purchase. When rates drop, prices will go up. Buy now and get the best price and then refi when the rates drop. This is the time to talk to the experts at North Alabama Mortgage. Visit NorthAlabamaMortgage.com for more information.
The kitchen is the heart of any home. It's where the family gathers. It's where kids discover old recipes and make them their own. Just starting out or just now getting started on the dream kitchen you've always wanted?
I'm Chris Haygood, and from all of us here at Bob Wallace Appliance to the home builders and the homeowners of the Huntsville area, a heartfelt thank you for buying local. We're in Huntsville, Florence, and Coleman, and online at BobWallaceAppliance.com.
Listen each Friday to the Woody Anderson Ford High School Football Scoreboard Show, powered by the Huntsville Sports Commission on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Closing time. Open all the doors and let you out into the world. Closing time. Turn all of the lights on over every boy and every girl.
Oregon quarterback Bo Nix is currently talking to ESPN. Here's Kirk Herbstreit.
Having a veteran like you at that key spot, the quarterback. Could you tell the viewers at home the difference in yourself between the Bo Nix playing today, leading today, what you provide to your teammates versus maybe who you were as, you know, a young guy, as a sophomore or even a junior?
Well, I've been fortunate enough to see a lot of football. I've seen a lot of defense. I kind of know what to expect now, obviously being my 5th year. But I think that I'm just settled in. I'm comfortable, and I have a good feel of our offense, and I know where everybody is at all times. And I can get us into checks, and I can have freedoms that not many people have. And so I'm fortunate to be coached by great coaches and have great players around me.
But when you look at USC and some of the struggles they've had on the defensive side, and now they've gotten rid of their defensive coordinator leading into your week, how does that change your preparation and what you're expecting to see from this USC team that now has a different defensive coordinator?
Well, I'm not quite sure how he's going to call the plays, but I do know that it's going to be hard for them to change drastically just in a week. And I know that they're going to be they're going to run the similar defense that they've run in the past, and they may tweak a few things, and we may see a few adjustments on Saturday, but we'll meet those when we see them, and we can only prepare what we've seen on film for now.
Oh, it's Greg, man. It's great to see you again, bud. So help me understand this.
You too.
You were getting the ball out so quick, so accurate, so decisive. New offensive coordinator this year with Will Stein coming in. How have you changed your process in understanding defense and understanding the distribution that you've been using all season long?
Well, I think it's just the scheme that, you know, I fit in. I think coach has done a really good job of allowing me to have completions on pretty much every play. There's always a way to get the ball out quick. We have great protection checks. We have great route adjustments. I just have a lot of flexibility and freedom, and because of that, I think I'm comfortable and I'm allowed to get the ball out fast and just get the ball to our playmakers.
Hey, Bo, Booger here, man. I feel like I've been watching you forever, man. Played against your dad back at Auburn. You leave Auburn, go to Oregon, and your career just takes off, man. Not just the X's and O's, but what allowed you to be so good once you got to Oregon?
Well, I think just the new setting and obviously the new team and just being I think the new part of my lifestyle kind of changed. And I just think, you know, I just got back to the basics. I started competing again and just getting back to my preparation. And I think everything happens for a reason. I think the Lord has put me in this position for far greater things than just football. And so I think my passion beyond that has really, you know, helped me off the field. And I just really love being around my teammates. I have loved getting to know each and every one of them. I'm around great coaches and great administrators, and the entire program, they have supported me really well. And I don't think I could be in a better spot. And I'm just really fortunate and thankful to be here.
Pretty good stage this weekend, too, Bo, against the reigning Heisman winner. And I'm told that it's not bodacious to think that you might be in that stage come early December. We wish you luck, and wish you luck on Saturday night against SC as well.
Thank you. I appreciate it. God bless.
That is Bo Nix, the former Auburn quarterback and current Oregon quarterback, as they're getting ready to take on USC. The teleconference for the College Football Playoff Committee currently going on. Let's take a listen in. Boo Corrigan, the director of the committee. He is the athletic director at NC State.
Of Texas and Alabama.
Again, looking at the win over Utah, understanding that Texas has a win over Alabama. Alabama comes back with wins over Mississippi, Tennessee, LSU, but it's a compilation, right, of everything that I was talking about in answering Joe. It's not one single metric, but you know we spend a lot of time on it, and we want to make sure we get it right. And it's not, you know, we do it one time and then move on. We'll do it one time and then come back to it again and come back to it again and make sure that at week 10, everyone's comfortable with where we are.
Thanks.
The next question will be from Nathan Baird with Cleveland.com.
Hi, you mentioned on the ESPN broadcast, I guess originally, the Ohio State win over Rutgers being sort of a playoff or a resume enhancement at this point. Can you just go more into that? Was Rutgers a team that in either of these first 2 weeks, I guess maybe more last week, that the committee looked at as a possible top 25 team? Or what was it about, I guess, Rutgers' quality that you felt this was also a strong win for Ohio State?
Again, winning is really important, so let's not lose sight of that. Also, Rutgers with the top 20 defense, wins on the road are hard to come by. As you're looking at it, I don't know that it was something necessarily that everyone looked at and bumped them up, but they continued to move on. They continue to play well. Really physical team. Travion Henderson, as I said before, being back, going for over 100 yards the last two games, helps them overall as a team against with their top 5 defense as well.
And we'll move now to Matt Baker with Tampa Bay Times.
Hey, Boo, I wanted to ask about Florida State. What was the committee's assessment and kind of evaluation of their strength of schedule and how that played into putting them at 4?
Again, really good team. Coach Norvell has done a heck of a job down there in Tallahassee, and the combination of the wins over LSU and at Clemson against Duke, winning last week without Johnny Wilson and Keon Coleman, two of their key elements on offense, and the physicality of their defense. Their offense puts up 40 points a game. The defense allows about 17 points a game. So they continue to play really well, and it's a really well-coached football team.
Your next question will come from Angelique Shingelis with Detroit News.
Hi, I know both of you answered my question last week about Michigan, and I was just wondering, with the Big Ten's latest interest in this situation, did that impact conversations at all? Did that come up?
Hey, it's Bill, and I appreciate your asking. Totally understand the question. The fact is, it did not come up because, well, it's the same as last week. The task of the committee is to rank the teams, and that's what we do every week.
Thank you.
As a reminder, if you'd like to ask a question, you can signal by pressing *1 on your telephone keypad. And we'll move next to Shane Metlin, Daily 6 News Record.
Hi, you mentioned last week that you don't deal in hypotheticals, but when it comes to the transitioning teams, James Madison today was in contact with the NCAA. Seems likely there's going to be a lawsuit from the Attorney General in Virginia. Also seems incredibly likely there won't be enough 6-6 teams to fill all the bowl spots. So it seems to be getting less hypothetical by the day. Has the committee discussed James Madison at all?
Yeah, of course. Just remember that the committee will rank any team that is eligible for postseason.
Mm-hmm. So it's safe to say if they become postseason eligible, they will immediately be considered for the rankings?
Yeah, yes. The committee will rank any team. I don't want to be a smart aleck here, but the fact is the committee will rank any team that's eligible for postseason.
All right, appreciate it. Thank you.
So that is, and listen, that part of the rules just needs to go away. This is also something that is impacting Jacksonville State right now here in our state. And I'm hanging up on the teleconference right there because James Madison deserves to be ranked. Heck, they got a player who actually leads the nation in sacks but nobody knows about them because the individual statistics are not recognized by the NCAA because of this transitional period. So it does not have to be this difficult for the NCAA. Let's go through the top 10 just in case you're hopping in the car right now. The latest edition of the college football playoff rankings has Ohio State number 1, followed by Georgia, then Michigan, Florida State, Washington, Oregon. You didn't miss too much if you saw last week's rankings. Number 7, though, is Texas. Alabama stays put at number 8. Number 9 is Ole Miss. That is the first team that vaults up as Ole Miss goes from 10 to 9 from last week to this week. Penn State rounds out your top 10. Other SEC teams, Tennessee is 13. Missouri is 14. I'll throw in Oklahoma. They're number 17. LSU is number 19. That is the first 3-loss team is LSU. And that rounds out your top 25 in terms of SEC teams there. So still a lot left to be decided in this college football campaign, Wes.
Oh, yeah, so much football left. Georgia plays, they have to win 3 good games no matter how you look at it. Alabama has to go to Kentucky and win. Winning on the SEC is hard. On the road, it's hard. And they can't be beating your chest worried about where you're ranking. You don't win this one, it doesn't matter. Alabama is in an elimination playoff.
Well, according to Jen, it's going to be a big weekend and a big shakeup with Ole Miss going into Athens, Georgia, and giving Kirby an L.
Well, so nothing would make my day better than Ole Miss winning that game.
I realize that.
Anyway, the bottom line is all this is fun to talk about.
Yeah.
But I don't know how targeting ends up being 15 points. Somebody needs to explain why we're still talking about that. And, of course, Tim Brando came out and said it was the worst call of the week.
Oh, did he really?
Yeah, that's so shocking. Tim Brando. Yeah.
Buckhorn basketball comes up in about 30 minutes' time.
All them dogs are counting down, about to put the anchor down. Hotty toddy, who's it gonna be? Cowbells and swamp, the Aggies romp. There's nothing like the SEC. The weekend's full of surprises. From Williams Brice to Death Valley. On the Fine Mom Show, Paul's on the roll. If he don't get the best of me,
Where's Paul? I don't know.
Coach Paul Feinbaum. Kneeling's up on Rocky Top. The Razorbacks are hard to stop. War Eagles soaring in the wind.
Let me talk, Jamie. Okay, go.
Tigers rocking in Missoula. Wildcats are grinning too. Talk about the tide that's rolling in. The weekend's full of surprises.
How you doing here, Paul Feinbaum?
Big upsets to rivalries. On the Fine Mom Show, heads are gonna roll. If they don't get the best of me, we'll call Paul. Yeah, it makes sense of it all. Yeah, call Paul. Yeah, it makes sense of it all.
I'm hearing your theme song in my head when I wake up.
I might call you 2, 3, 4, 5 times for the day over with.
Hey, welcome in. We appreciate you being here. Let's get some more calls in. And Glenn from Macon, Georgia. Good afternoon. Hey, Glenn.
Hey, Paul.
How are you?
I'm doing well. Hey, before we get started, can I apologize to one of your executives?
Sure.
Yeah, it was very frustrating yesterday getting into